When I saw the news, I couldn't believe it. How the fuck is he getting free? No, I know how. I know exactly how. Money solves all your problems. Anyone who told you it can't, they lied. Dude, there was literal testimony that nigga blew up somebody's car. That nigga blew up somebody's car. I advise any celebrity, actor, whatnot, who made a bad video on Diddy, because I know this is a video on Diddy, but made a bad video on Diddy, to delete it. You still got time. I heard he's getting a maximum, or possibly a maximum of 10 years. You got time to delete that shit. He's coming home. Booties are getting tucked. And niggas are dying. Anyways, we got Diddy Beat the Case by Omeezy. Go ahead, like his content, like my content, subscribe, like, follow the IG, and let's get into it.
People are pouring baby oil on one another outside this courthouse.
We just started the video. What do you mean pouring baby oil on each other? Why are y'all oiling each other up outside a fucking courthouse? Is this something you would have heard happening 30 years ago? Even 5. Oiling each other up outside the courthouse where the Diddy case is going on.
Baby oil having a very big play in the freak-offs we heard about. You have people saying it's not Rico, it's Frico.
I don't know where the case is taking trial at. I don't know where the case is where the trial's at. What city, what state. I can guarantee you. I knew it was New York. That nigga got some Knicks hat on. Only some New York shit. Maybe Florida shit. Only New York, bro. No, bro. No. This is it. For me, this is my final straw, bro. What are they putting in the water supply in New York City? No other nigga in any state acts like them. It's like the water in New York City turns its residents into fucking beastly animals. Like a fucking pagan curse, bro. No other nigga, plural, niggas, in any other state act like this. New York is different.
Maybe I do need to revisit the Black Fatigue video. Maybe I was wrong. In a shocking turn of events that I don't think a lot of people saw coming today, Diddy found not guilty on damn near everything at this point. Only 2 of the counts stuck on his jacket, one being transportation to engage in prostitution of Cassie, and the other one in transportation to engage in a prostitution. This one was of a Jane Doe, but not on the 2 counts of trafficking and not on the racketeering conspiracy charge. Now, as I record right now, there has not been any sort of sentencing on the 2 transportation charges, but I will say that those are the lesser of the evils. Those only come with at max 10 years apiece, so 20 years, but at max he's not gonna face the max. It's quite unprecedented that Diddy basically
I can see Diddy getting, like, you heard it here first. I was all up in my ear. I don't care. This is my house. This is my setup, my camera, my keyboard, my air. I can get my air on the video if I want to. Thank you. Oh, don't be a judge over there across that screen judging. And stop staring at me crazy. Yes, I'm talking to you, bro. I'm talking to you, bro. Yes. You're judging, bro. Everything in this vicinity is mine. Bro, this desk, it's just mine. You're mine too. Let me stop though. On a real note, bro, I can see Diddy getting 3 to 6 years in prison. Even probation. I definitely, if it got so far to the point that his bigger crimes aren't even being pursued, found not guilty, I can definitely see him getting 3 to 6 years. Watch.
a RICO case. He beat the feds and he could get maybe some time served or, you know, some sort of bail, which we'll talk about in a minute, or he could walk out scot-free today. I will say to me that this is like extremely shocking. On this channel, we haven't been following up on the Diddy case like we should have. After the initial baby oil stunt, I stepped a little bit away, but honestly, court cases are so convoluted, have so much evidence involved, and are intertwined with people's actual lives that every time I got a glimpse into the situation, honestly, it hurt my heart. Like, no joke, it hurt my heart to participate in these conversations. We saw the Cassie video. We knew he was a monster from past stories and things that were said about him in the hip hop industry.
Bro, I've never heard of anybody, especially a black man, blowing up a fucking car. I heard of like terrorist organizations and maybe like one white person. How evil do you gotta be a nigga and blow up a car, bro? How'd you even blow up a car? No, I lied. I remember hearing about mobsters doing it back in the day, bro. But still. Those are like real deal mobsters, bro. You're a rapper, nigga. How the hell did you find out how to blow up someone's car? Make an explosive to blow it the fuck up. How do you learn that shit?
Almost seemed like a slam dunk case, but to be honest with you, a lot of us are sitting here blindsided today. Now, I will say I erred on the side of caution because one thing and one thing only stood out to me. This verdict was close to a holiday, a major holiday. And I know what happens when cases come close to a major holiday. I saw it in the Tory Lanez trial versus the state where it was brushed up against the holiday and people that were deliberating was like, you know what, been gone for long enough, kind of want to wrap this up fast and hurry. I don't want to be a part of this situation anymore. And it has to be. Plus, I get a 3-day weekend. I'm going home. Now, after settling that lawsuit, more lawsuits came out where there were allegations of sexual assault in the 90s, underage claims that were going on in the past. Diddy denied a bunch of these things, damn near all of these things. There were claims that he was grooming in 2024, early 2024, and all these cases and all these claims started to stack up against Diddy, and most of them had no substantial proof. But then in May 2024, that is when the Cassie video dropped, which opened up Pandora's box for everyone to believe everything that was said in the past and everyone else to come down the pipeline. So as lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit kept piling up and piling up and piling up, I mean, it just made Diddy look worse than anything we had ever seen before. Hearing about trauma is one thing, but seeing trauma and seeing it in literal 4K is another. Eventually, he gets hit with this RICO after multiple claims, multiple cases, multiple lawsuits, him trying to seemingly flee the country, running around. So that was a mess of a time. I know people don't really remember, but that was a whale of a time.
I do remember that. Now it just hit me. I remember he was like, where was he at? He was trying to go like, no, he was like on an island or some shit, and he turned himself in. I remember that because his kids were still over here when the mansion got raided.
Ultimately, he gets hit with this RICO case, and in this RICO case, he's getting charged with conspiracy, trafficking, prostitution, all these other things like that. So with all that evidence up against him that people saw being depicted out in court, they were wondering how the hell could something like this happen or reach a verdict today where he is getting off with less than a slap on the wrist.
It goes on to say he was not guilty on both charges of trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion in connection with Ventura and Jane. Combs was accused of being the ringleader of an alleged enterprise that abused, threatened, and coerced women into prolonged drug-fueled sexual orgies with male prostitutes, which he called freak-offs, and then threatened them into silence. Combs has said that all of this was consensual and that while his relationships sometimes involved domestic violence,
wow,
he wasn't engaging in trafficking. Combs' lawyer, Mark A. said Combs was simply part of the swinger lifestyle and that he vehemently denies the accusations made by the Southern District of New York.
Shouts out to friend of the show, AV to the 7th Power. She broke it down beautifully on her live stream as to what happened in real time from the perspective of a lawyer. I definitely recommend that you guys check it out, because over here, we just here to make you laugh and giggle. We don't necessarily know all of the facts. I'm not going to claim to be some sort of expertise, but I do want to break down a little bit as to why he did not get hit with what a lot of people thought he could get hit with. People were on the timeline asking, how do you get hit with the prostitution, transportation of that and stuff?
Here's what really blows my mind, bro. Young Thug just got accused of running a gang operation, RICO, and attempted murder on YF and Lucci and shit. That nigga, Young Thug, I remember vividly, Young Thug was sitting in a cell since I was a junior, which was probably 2021 or 2020. It just took him, he just got released this year. How the fuck does Diddy have all these years, dating all the way back to the 1990s, of shit on him? Raids, baby oil, video footage, testimonies. And he could be getting out in the next year. His case already like that, bow, beat. And Young Thug was sitting in a cell for years, bro. It took Thug 4 to 5 years to get out. Took Diddy 1. Not even a full 1 year. Just 1. Not guilty on everything. Except for the engaging with a prostitute, which I already know he's not getting the max for both of those. If they drop the RICO, the sex trafficking, what makes you think they're going to give him the max for engaging with a fucking prostitute? I don't know how this shit happens.
Like that, but not the trafficking. It's that simple coercion and force and money portion of it. And that's the reason why he ultimately didn't get hit with those things. Now, I saw what I saw in the video from Cassie, but they were claiming that she took his phone and ran out. So that's what caused P. Diddy to, go out there and be abusive to her in the hallway. And they acknowledged a bunch of abuse that was going on throughout the duration of their relationship. It's even weird to talk about this stuff. But ultimately, none of that was linked to the sexual acts. The acts were free and willing by the participants, is what they were saying. There are even people on the timeline saying that the prosecution made the mistake of, trying to portray P. Diddy as some sort of freakball general the whole time, not necessarily some sort of criminal organizers. If you remember in the young,
that is true. The worst shit you heard about Diddy coming out wasn't it was just always like freaky shit. All the baby oil they found, all the text messages, all the fucking cleanup crews after his fucking freak offs. Shit like that. It's fucking that, bro. It's fucking that, bro. But, what was I about to say? Cassie was engaging in them, bro. Once they found them text threads of Cassie wanting the freak offs, I think that's what did it, bro.
Young Thug case, it was a conglomerate of people. There were 28 people, which makes sense for.
But I really feel bad for Cudi. He went on the stand and testified, bro. I really hope nothing bad happens to Kid Cudi.
Case, it's supposed to be some sort of organization. There should be a lot of names and faces attached to this. So where are all these people?
Because here's the thing: in the Young Thug case, we had 28 people indicted. 28. So it wasn't just Thug. Thug was allegedly the kingpin. I think in their opening argument, they said he was the leader of the pack or something like that, right? But here with Diddy, notice that these charges are against Diddy and Diddy alone, not right. Diddy and other people, not KK, the assistant, not, it's Diddy and his companies. Bad Boy, right?
Right.
I don't know if Revolt was listed. but it was just Diddy and his company. So when you have companies, those are entities.
I think instead of pursuing this angle that Diddy was some sort of freak ball and bringing somebody like a Cassie Ventura, who ultimately had to speak on her behalf, onto the stand, they should have definitely focused on the criminal acts and how they could link those things together. Not only because they possibly missed out on getting the conviction of somebody who a lot of people just would think is just evil. Like they understand the stories, the lore about P. Diddy. This is not some sort of secret. I'm not breaking any news right here, but they do think that he is evil. But also it would keep us from these nasty conversations about Cassie Ventura being some sort of complicit party in this. And look, if you watched the case and heard some of the things that Cassie said about, you know, sticking around, or the phone calls where she said she could have somebody packed up and stuff like that, you probably have a new perspective on Cassie as a whole. But two things are true. One, she is a victim. I mean, we've seen it on 4K.
She's a victim of domestic violence, yes. But when it comes to the freak offs and all that, no. She was a willing, I think she was the instigator in some of them. She started that shit. I remember there was one text thread where it was like, I'm ready for the next freak offs, and Diddy was like, damn, already? And now her husband knows that shit, bro. I see a divorce happening. Very soon.
Television, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if she ended up taking his phone and running down the hallway. There's no way you put your hands on that type of woman. And two, mentally, everything is not right up there. I can't begin to imagine the mind state of somebody who had been put through some of the traumas and some of the situations and stuff that was described in this court case. So I'm not even going to pretend. But I do know one thing. I think that this is going to set a nasty precedent for people that are involved in situations like this. Now, granted, I do think that a lot of times, you know, when Tony Busby or the likes are attached to these lawsuits against celebrities, that, you know, people should generally ignore them. Tony Busby is just out there to get clout and money, et cetera, especially because he's, you know, had a bunch of cases dismissed or whatever. But that does not mean that these uber powerful people do not take advantage of the women or the men or the children in their lives. We know that Hollywood is weird. We do not have to act as if it's not weird.
The reason why you got to question P. Diddy's lawyers is because these are things that they brought up. Now, mind you, it may be a way to get him off the greater charges in the conversation by openly admitting, yo, this is a violent man, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But was there any sort of criminal organization going on? No, not at all. That got him off the bigger charges. However, it's coming back to bite him in the butt now, because he will have to sit in a prison cell because they are deeming him to be a violent man.
And
what I think, bro, the justice system's already bad. The justice system's already bad. Some people murder, regular civilians murder and get away with it. I remember, what was that one case with the dude and this girl went to a hotel and the dude walked out of the hotel with a suitcase. He murdered the girl and stuffed her in a suitcase. He murdered the girl, stuffed her in a suitcase, and I believe he only got 7 to 14 years for that. And that was just some normal dude. No celebrity, no actor, no rapper, no singer, no nothing. So imagine if Diddy can get sex trafficking dismissed and racketeering dismissed in under a year. Doubt he'll be doing any time. Anything greater than 6 years, hell no.
So now when we're searching for this perfect victim all the time because Cassie kept trying to go back and she is a part of the stop. You people I can't take serious because you're not taking this thing serious. You're no different than the people who are doing the parlays for Diddy and putting money down to see what he gets charged with. Or the people that are outside of the court making an absolute boondock skit fool of themselves while Diddy is being read his sentencing. Like, I don't even understand what these people are doing. Why don't they have jobs?
You can have these two items, they're legal, but if you put them together, you end up in a freako. So, remember I told y'all what... So look, you see this? If it don't slip, you must have quit. You must have quit.
Oh my goodness. Say that again?
If it don't slip, must have quit.
Black fatigue. Now, one thing that did come to mind when this happened, because some of us did think that this was a possibility beforehand, is that what happens to P. Diddy afterwards? We've seen situation after situation in which public figure that is extremely popular gets hit with some sort of criminal case where women, children, men, whatever are involved, and they are vulnerable and they are ultimately victims, whether it be proven on video or in the court hearings. And honestly, their public perception does not change. Now, we've seen stuff be altered and people have different thoughts and opinions and feelings on certain people, but I'm seeing a lot of people, whether they be commenters on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whether it be the people outside the court, that are extremely jovial over the fact that P. Diddy, somebody who has admitted and acknowledged to doing things that are still bad, like I don't think that people think that domestic violence is a good thing, are just sitting there happy that he is free. Now, his public image...
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Before all this shit about Diddy even came out, swear to you, bro, I never really thought about him ever. All the way up until that shit about Diddy came out, I never thought about him ever. Until he got name dropped in like a movie or something. Like I remember I rewatched Alvin and the Chipmunks and it was like talking about P. Diddy and all that shit. And then the Drewski skit with P. Diddy. Other than that, never thought about him a day in my life. I don't know. Anyways, that's enough out of me. Like the creators video, like my video, and I love y'all. See you in the next one.